All right, we are making progress with the crossover steering installation on the old 78. I took the steering pump off because I figured might as well do the whole job here. It was completely covered in oil and grime. Painted it up, ran new lines, all the return lines, and we are getting somewhere. Just installed the new pitman arm, torqued that nut. Right now I'm trying to purge the system, the steering gear, and get it flushed, but trunk won't start right now, so we're working on it. So right now I'm going to install the new drag link. All right, we are working on getting this thing together, bleeding the system. So this, I have Hydro Boost on this truck. I converted that. I put 1 ton brake and steering Hydro Boost on this from an '85 Chevy K30, obviously a 1 ton, and it can be tricky to bleed these systems for the power steering because of the brake and the power steering are all connected together. And research how a Hydro Boost system works, and then you can see what's going on and what I mean by why they're all tied together. It's not a traditional vacuum booster for the brakes. So I know it's dark, but I did bleed it. I got it to turn lock to lock with no problems. It was with 1 finger I could turn it. Well, what I didn't know is I didn't really think about it, but when you push the brakes, that can introduce more air into the system, and because like I said, it's all tied together, so if there's any air pockets anywhere, it can mess up. So I was just turning it lock to lock to try and bleed the system. Got it bled what I thought. Then I took it and pushed the brakes. Well, then my steering didn't work and my brakes didn't work because I introduced more air into the system because I pushed the brakes and didn't bleed it with pushing the brakes and turning it. So we're gonna do that now. We're gonna push the brakes and turn it, try to get it to turn lock to lock. We'll see what happens, but if anybody's trying to bleed Hydro Boost systems, I've been YouTubing it, trying to figure this out because it's not the simplest task. So, all right, let's continue on. So we got the power steering reservoir filled to the fill cold line. Like I said, we already bled this. I already had this bled, and you know, we got frothy power steering fluid. So I know some air was already, purged from the system, bled out of the system, and it seems like it just had the truck running, and the oil seems very pure. It does not have any froth in it. So we're gonna try to do this without cracking a line and bleeding it. That's the next step. So I'm just gonna start it, turn it lock to lock while pushing the brakes, which will in turn bleed the Hydro Boost system and all, every part of it. So. So there's definitely still air in the system. It's definitely frothy, so it needs to be bled. That's the problem, and we just gotta keep doing this or figure out a way until it's bled. So next step, I took the return line from the pump, pinched it off with vice grips, took it off of the Hydro Boost system, put a clear vinyl tubing onto the return line off of the hydro boost, and then I have the vinyl tubing just running down into this catch can so I can watch it, drain pan. So see if there's any air coming out of there, and then I'll have to watch the start it up and then watch it flow out of there hopefully, and then watch the fluid level in the pump and add if or when needed.